CPS Case Supervisor Mark Jackson. I've been notified that I have a new case, and I can see that I currently have 9 open cases in my queue. I'll open the queue and I see that a new Priority 1 report has just been entered. As I read through the existing case notes, I'll take a look at the summary that was taken in during the initial phone call. Because my profile gives me access, I can review Aaron's prior history with CPS and can see that he's been in the system several times before. I'll add a quick note to the case notes, and then on the Summary tab, I'll assign this to one of my investigators, Lowell. He'll be notified of the assignment automatically by text message when I save and close the case. Changing hats again, I'll be playing the role of CPS Case Investigator Lowell Knighton. I just received the text notification that I have a new case, so I'll log into the VitalChild system to review. I review the case summary and see that my supervisor Mark has left me a note indicating that Aaron has been in the system multiple times. It's time to create a plan of action, which details how I plan to approach the family and what questions I intend to ask. Using a standard text shortcut, I simply type in PLAN, and you'll see that a template for a plan of action was inserted into the case notes. For the purpose of our demo, I've pre-filled portions of the plan of action. Over on the Summary tab, I'll send this back to my case supervisor for review. CPS Supervisor Mark Jackson takes a look through the case and reviews Lowell's plan of action. He adds his approval to the case notes and sends it back to Lowell.
It's time for Lowell to begin working on the case. I'm not always in the office, so I am using the VitalChild application on the go from my tablet. Here I'm preparing for my home visit with Aaron. I have access to live views of my caseload, just as I do in the office. In the map view, I see all my cases laid out on a Google map. If I select the detailed view, I can see a large thumbnail of the child if available, as well as an enlarged view of the case details. I'll select Aaron, and I see my plan of action that Mark has already signed off on. Clicking on Aaron's address gives me turn-by-turn navigation directly to his home. Once I arrive at Aaron's house, I might want to let my supervisor know that I'm here. I'm using text-to-speech to enter a case note. I have just arrived at Aaron's house and am beginning my interview. When I submit my changes, the case is updated in real time. This saves me a tremendous amount of time since I no longer have to come back to the office and type my handwritten notes. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and take a picture of Aaron's house. To do that, I use my tablet and I click on the camera icon. I'm happy with the picture, so I type in a quick note, I click submit, which automatically updates the case notes. Now I've knocked on the door and I'm going to go inside and have a conversation with Aaron and his mother. To help guide me, I'm going to use my initial child contact information assessment. Having an assessment ensures that I ask the right questions consistently and in every case. For example, you'll notice that the questions are dynamic, so if I answer in a certain way, I'm prompted to fill in additional information. So this way, the assessment gives me the right amount of information at the right time and ensures that I ask and receive the proper information. Moving through the assessment on my tablet, I'll slide down and get to the next page of the assessment. This particular section of the initial assessment deals with child endangerment. So if I answer in a certain way, or if a child confirms to me that they have been abused physically or sexually, or there's drug or alcohol use present in the home, then certain steps can be taken. For example, I could have the interview automatically set a priority on my case or notify my supervisor. Now that I'm done interviewing Aaron, I'll move ahead and do a quick assessment of the home. Using the home safety assessment, I can walk around the home and assess the home for any significant safety risks to the child or any children in the home. I'm not going to click all the way through this, but just know that this assessment can be customized and tailored to your exact needs. I want to take a minute and point out the coffee cup icon at the bottom of the screen. We all know that case investigators face a wide variety of conditions when they go out to meet a family. If for some reason I felt uncomfortable with the situation in the home, I can just say, "Do you mind if we take a break? Let me pause the session." If I press yes, the system can be configured to automatically notify my case supervisor that I'm in trouble and need assistance, as well as be configured to immediately notify local law enforcement and provide them with my location. We can also configure this to begin an audio recording of the room from the tablet's microphone. This is a great safety blanket for case investigators to know that if they require assistance, they don't have to try to come up with a way to dial 911 from their pocket. I'd also like to point out our ability to geofence information. Right now, I can see the details of the intake report. Imagine if while I was in the home, someone might demand to know who reported them to CPS. With geofencing, we can block access to that information within a 2 or 3 mile radius of the address of this child. I can explain that I don't have access to that information and help diffuse the situation. While I'm still here in the home, I'm going to perform a home safety and risk assessment. I'm going to invite one of our psychologist partners from MD Ed, Dr. Michael Corrigan, to discuss the home and safety risk assessments as I click through them. Mike?
Thanks, Alex. So we are fully aware that many states are required currently to do a safety and risk assessment to get a better read and status of how the child is doing in the home, if this home is safe, and what the major risk pieces are. You're going to see, as you see here, we have a risk and we also have a safety assessment. And as we'll cover in the case management video to follow, the MDYA 360 resource library is going to give you about every form you need to get through a day. But the goal here was to give you an automated way to collect this data related to a child's safety within the home, and then also to perform a risk assessment. And you can go through, and please note, a lot of this information, once it's been entered, it'll be pre-populated, so it'll save the case manager or social worker or investigator a lot of time to do this. But we're able to enter all the information we need, figure out how many kids are in there, what they're dealing with, what type of situation they're in. We can collect anything that you want. This is a pretty comprehensive form, and we built this based upon a number of different forms being used throughout the country, and adding in some more analytical pieces, because what we're trying to do is give you operational and predictive analytics in the future that allow you to provide your workforce with the ability to see an automated electronic recommendation as to what should take place with this child, whether it's a new caseworker or a seasoned caseworker. And what you end up with at the end is an abuse score and the risk level, and a neglect score and a risk level, and a recommendation on what should take place. So we just want you to know that we have risk and safety assessment pieces built into this, and we can customize them and tailor them to whatever your state would like to use. As Alex shown here, we can get signatures on location based upon these as well. And now I'll hand it back off to Alex, and he can tell you what to take place.
Great, thanks, Mike. So I'm finished here in the home, and next I'd like to walk across the street and interview some of Aaron's neighbors to get a little bit more background on the family. To do that, I would use the collateral information assessment here. I'm not going to click through that right now in the interest of time, but just note that, again, I can click through any assessments that are necessary during my home visit. Now that I've wrapped up my home visit, I can complete the field notes from my car or a safe location, or return to the office to write up my determination report. I'd also like to point out that if, for example, I happen to be out in an area that didn't happen to have cellular service, the VitalChild system can automatically keep and hold the information on the tablet until I return to an area where I do have coverage, and then it will seamlessly update the system. Back in the office, going through my notes, I've decided that there is definitely cause for concern, and I'm going to set the case outcome to allegations substantiated with services recommended, which is an in-home placement with extended safety plan and preventative care for adults and youths recommended. I'll send this back over to my supervisor for his approval.